Hey guys, I'm Douglas, the Attimaniac, coming at you fresh from the Ready Player One viewing. Why are y'all laughing?
It was an experience, alright.
It was pretty interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah. Corporate billionaires.
Yeah. Y'all gonna introduce yourselves, or is that
my
on
name
me?
My name is Anthony. All right.
I'm James. You've seen me on other stuff probably on this channel.
Yes. Alright, so I guess we should all kind of start into what we, like, the expectations we were bringing into it, like what we wanted, and then kind of how the film answered or addressed that. Why don't y'all go beforehand?
Okay, well, I haven't read the book or anything, so I didn't know what I was getting into. But the movie, oh my god, I don't know where to start. The first 20 minutes were pretty much pointless. It took forever. Oh man, it was just, I don't know. It's just...
Every expectation I had for this movie was
God.
just a thing of existential dread, and everything in this movie caused existential dread. I was coming into this movie waiting for, like, the Bazinga, Big Bang Theory-esque pop culture references, and they were there, but somehow certain scenes made it even worse than Big Bang Theory. Like, at the very end of the movie, where he holds up a boombox, and "We're Not Gonna Take It" plays like the fucking Digimon movie as loud as possible on the screen.
Oh my
and
God.
I was like trying to dig my skull into the seat in front of me to hide from it.
Oh my god. It's just... The movie feels like it feels like it came from a 90s, 80s movie, like an Indiana Jones or Tron movie. So
This movie
it's just...
fillets 80s and 90s culture to all fucking hell.
Yeah, it takes it to a whole different level. And oh my god, the antagonist. Oh my god, the antagonist and his side character was pretty much the best characters in the movie.
What, Mr. Business and Skull Chest? Yeah.
I think the guy called him Iraq.
Iraq.
Like
I
Iraq.
heard Iraq the first time.
Was
yeah, it was like Iraq.
Was it Iraq? Okay.
Maybe his name was
didn't-
Turok. Maybe his
Turok,
parents named him
Turok, I think.
Turok.
Yeah,
like
Turok.
like those won $10,000.
I heard Iraq, but
Turok, probably.
when I
Turok,
first saw him, I
Iraq.
laughed at him real hard because he looked like his face was kind of amorphous, but he also had like this weird, like some like Mexican facial features.
He
and
did.
it was-
I was thinking
it
of
was
just
Machete
really
when I
weird.
first saw him. And then he like had T.J. Miller as his voice actor. So like the second T.J. Miller's voice came out and the character and the voice didn't match up, I couldn't take it seriously anymore and just laughed every time he was on
I
screen.
thought his
It was like
Voice
a fucking Saturday morning 80s 90s cartoon like G.I. Joe,
I am Skeletchest. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like he rises up from the corner and there's just a giant hole, and I'm like, oh my god, he just has a hole in his chest.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. But then it was just like a giant skull, and it's like, oh, that's less
Oh my
cool.
god.
Yeah.
Everything around him was skull themed. I think he pulled out like a skull themed rifle that was just a skull that shot out of the mouth.
He was so edgy. He was really edgy, you know.
All right, well. I kind of went into it with every day we got closer to watching this. I felt like more and more like fear about it. It's like, ah, fuck, I have to watch this, and because I saw like the promotional material, they like redid a bunch of like old movie posters, and they didn't recreate a lot of them. They just like photoshopped in like the main character and or his friends' heads and like made it more grayscale with like no care in the this was like a high schooler's Photoshop project that they took 5 minutes on just 11 different times, And they're all gross. They're all gross as shit.
The Blade Runner one's particularly gross.
Oh, they have a Blade Runner one, and it's all washed out and gray.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no one... I think they had a Rambo one, and people were saying this is the only one that looks kind of cool, even though the font's bad. And it took me 2 minutes to find a good font for it. And I think that's because they didn't have the rights just to use the poster, but that's neither here nor there. I went into it expecting something terrible that I could, like, rip on, and that would be, like, just a horrible thing to watch. But I didn't get that. It's a bad movie, but it's not bad. It's, you know, it's obviously competently directed and put together. In a lot of parts, it's not something that is just wholesale, like, this is bad on a technical level, but it was just so boring. And that's like a cardinal sin for this kind of movie.
Dude, I think in the first scene where it was the race scene, me and Douglas here were watching the movie, and I just turned to him and I'm like, this is the most bored I've ever been during a cool action scene that was supposed to be cool. Because it was just action, but with no substance.
Like, it was... when he told me that, I was just like sitting in my chair with just like my elbow propped up on it, just with like my hand and my fist in my head, just keeping me up. And he said, "This is so boring." I'm like, "Holy shit, it is!" I just like zoned out on it, like I was watching a wall, and it's like, yeah. And then I'm just watching it, and the part we were watching, it's like King Kong comes out and is like smashing everything, and everything's all close up and all, and it just keeps cutting around, and once it finally gives you room to breathe, it's like way in the distance. And like the big problem is there's never any concept, there's no establishing like thing there to give you a reference point. It's just a whole bunch of action that I guess is on a technical level impressive, but on a foundational level it can't be followed. It's
kind of like Transformers. You know, kind of.
Transformers
no.
actually...
It's more like Fast and the Furious.
No. Okay, Transformers is actually well directed. The problem is it's all action, and there's so much of it that you just become tired of it, and it all blends into each other. This... Okay, the most apt comparison I can make is it's like something Sakuga people would praise. Because there's a lot of cool, like, technical, like, movement in it. But when you're actually watching it, it's all just confused and jumbled up and feels like nothing.
This is true.
I think...
Also, it felt like it had no stakes to it.
Here's,
it was like, they can lose and bottom out and, like, reset, but, like, that isn't...
Here's the thing. Me and James here watched it twice. This was our second night. So, when
this is my first time watching it. Yeah, so...
When King Kong came on and was smashing things, it just leaned over to James here, and I'm like, King Kong, Godzilla, Loch Ness, a monster with no conscience, and it's just like, it's exactly like that line that everyone shits on him for in Monster, where it's just like a bunch of shit thrown in, and it's like, yeah, this is cool, and it's like, no man, it's
not cool.
It's lame. But
naming things for their notoriety to think as a joke or as a thing isn't a good joke or it's seen.
I was going to read this for y'all going into it, but there's allegedly, like, there's a poem that he wrote, and it's like allegedly by Ernest Cline, the author. I've also heard someone said that some YouTuber did like a reading of this, but was DMCA'd or some shit. And it's called Nerd Porn Auteur. Again, I'm not sure if this is actually his or some weird Reddit thing, but it's a poem. And I am now going to read it to y'all and gauge y'all reactions to this. And yeah. Nerd Porn Auteur. I've noticed that there don't seem to be any porno movies that are made for guys like me. All the porn I've come across was targeted at beer-swilling sports bar-dwelling alpha males. Men who like their women stupid and submissive. Men who can only get it up for monosyllabic cock-hungry nymphos with gargantuan breasts and a 3-word vocabulary. Adult films are populated with these collagen-injected liposuctioned women, many of whom have resorted to surgery and self-mutilation in an attempt to look the way they have been told to look. These aren't real women.
Peak incel
They're
hours. Who's up?
objects. And these women's aren't erotic. They're pathetic. These vacuum-headed fuck bunnies don't turn me on. They disgust me. And it's not that I'm against pornography. I mean, I'm a guy. And guys need porn.
Everyone needs
Fact.
Fact.
Like a preacher needs pain. Like a needle needs a vein. Guys need porn. But I don't want to watch this misogynist...
Where does this thing go?
What?
It gets better.
What the
But I
fuck?
don't want to watch this misogynist He-Man woman hater porn. I want porno movies that are made with guys like me in mind. Guys who know that the sexiest thing in the world is a woman who is smarter than you are.
Beta male porn.
Oh
When's it
my
coming?
Yeah, I like a woman that can kick my ass, so I somewhat get it. You can have the whole cheerleading squad. I want the girl in the tweed skirt and the horn-rimmed glasses. Betty Finbowski, the valedictorian. Oh, yes. First, I want to copy her trig homework, and then I want to make mad, passionate love to her for hours and hours until she reluctantly asks if we can stop
Oh, God.
because she doesn't want to miss Battlestar Galactica. Summa cum laude, baby. That is what I call erotic. But do you ever see that kind of woman working in a contemporary adult film? No. Which is why I'm going to start writing and directing geek porno. I shall be the quintessential nerd porn auteur. And all the women in my porno movies will be the kind that drive nerds like me mad with desire. I'm talking about the girls that used to fuck up the grading curve. The girls in the Latin Club and the National Honor Society. Chicks with weird clothes, braces, 4 eyes, and 4.0 GPAs. Brainy articulate bookworms with Mensa cards in their purses and chips on their shoulders. My porn starlets will come in all shapes and sizes. My porn starlets will be too busy working on their PhD to go to the gym.
That is a tag. Ugly people on porn is a tag. Everything is a tag.
Please stop. In my kind of porno movies, the girls wouldn't even have to get naked. They just take the guys down to the rec room and beat them repeatedly at chess. And then talk to them for hours about Heisenberg's uncertainty principle.
It's called EDM.
Or the underlying social metaphors in the Aliens movies. Buy stock in some hand cream companies because there is about to be a major shortage. And I'm not just talking about straight porn. Oh no. There should be fuck films for my nerd brethren of all sexual orientations. Gay nerd flicks with titles like Dungeons and Drag Queens. I had to
take a
face
shot
there.
each time I feel
Oh my God.
uncomfortable.
This
Okay,
idea is a
wait.
fucking gold mine. I'm gonna make millions because this country is full of database programmers and electronics engineers, and they aren't getting the love they desperately need, and you can help. If you're an intelligent woman is interested in breaking into the adult film industry, and if you can tell me the name of Luke Skywalker's home planet, then you're hired. It doesn't matter if you think you're overweight or unattractive. It doesn't matter if you don't think you're beautiful. You are beautiful, and I will make you a star. Yeah, that's it. Allegedly he wrote this. I don't know if he did or didn't. People are claiming that he did. If he is, he's a creep, and his misogynist lines are the least self-aware thing ever because he is in fact the misogynist, but...
This feels like something pulled off of r/incels before it got taken down.
Oh, I think this was an r/neckbeards or something. I don't know. If it's on Reddit, there's a, good chance it's a hoax, but that's,
No,
that's a hoax. I can't imagine anyone, creating... He said he's taking a shot, but, it should be noted that we're all kind of, drinking to process what we saw.
It's more to numb the pain.
Yes.
I just have mixed feelings with it. I love it. I hate it. And I don't know. It's just...
This movie has every stereotype, but only in a halfway offensive way.
Okay, so
it got every movie cliche. Oh my god.
We have we kind of have to structure this a bit. So
yeah.
I'm going to ask y'all what y'all think the major themes of the movies are, or of the movie is.
I don't know what's the
what is it about?
Autism speaks, and you should listen.
I believe is be your true self, I guess, and I guess don't play video games.
No matter how much a girl says no, she'll still fuck you if you almost die and your aunt dies.
Because
basically, what I got from it is that reality is buried in virtual reality. I don't know. I think it was just muddy at the end.
I think like the major themes going on are like creator worship and in a lot of ways the evils of the internet, because there's like the huge like neoliberal company that just like literally enslaves people who are in debt to them and run up their debt forever.
They buy their debt. Like if you owe like Sprint or something $3,000 from an outstanding phone bill, they'll just like buy your debt up and stick you in a virtual reality thing to move stuff.
Yeah, to farm money. It's not very clear in this world, but the money in the game seems to be worth real money, which I guess is true of World of Warcraft gold.
There was
although you can't, trade your gold back for real money in the same way. You can, but there seems to be like a 1-to-1 relation between in-game currency and like
while our
main
main character was in his van away from home. There was a little. He was passing through newspapers, and when I saw it, I pointed out the duck here, and it's like Oasis coin, and then I cringed.
Yeah, there's obviously parallels to Bitcoin and shit in there, but I'm gonna go pee real quick. If y'all want to talk about whatever, obviously I'm cutting out the point where I said I'm gonna pee real quick.
But yeah, when they went to the little bar area,
the dance
area. Oh my god! Like the furries. Oh my god.
Oh my god. The furries are the most horrifying things possible because it takes every furry fan art thing you've ever seen on DeviantArt and turns it into a character they can actually.
No. DeviantArt. No. Tumblr.
No. DeviantArt as well. No place is safe from the scourge that is furries.
No, Tumblr. Tumblr is pretty much like I'll say the 5-star equivalent. I say Tumblr is like the 5-star Pornhub for furry art. So
I'm not sure if what you're talking about is related to Ready Player One or not, but go on because I'm keeping this in here.
It is. We're talking about the
furry chick from the club.
Yeah, from the club.
Okay, whatever. That's
because she's gross and furries are gross, and they modeled her tits to be in 3D. Because we saw it in 2D and they weren't modeled, but when we saw it in 3D, they like jiggled into the screen, and I was horrified.
I'm not sure I can trust that exact statement, but I don't know. Y'all are the ones fixated on fairy tits.
No, they zoom them into the screen. There's a good like 5 to 9 seconds of just staring at the character.
I know it points their breasts out really prominently, which is in part due to because every other part of her is slimmer than how her breasts bulge out.
Exactly.
But to like a weird point. But I guess we should start talking about the front of the movie because it opens up on like a 20-minute long like monologue.
Oh my god!
Like I'm
exposition.
I'm watching a light novel adaptation, which let's be honest, I am.
When we first saw it, me and you were sitting there going, "When the fuck is this going to end? This hasn't ended yet. What the fuck?"
I think in like 20 minutes in, they have like a title card that says Ready Player One.
They have 3 title cards in this movie. They don't name drop the movie, but they sure the fuck put a bunch of title cards saying that it's the movie you're seeing.
When you first come in, like the way the camera was like following them, it was like ticking. It was like ticking in like I was playing a game that had like really poorly rendered cutscenes.
You stuck a game to real time.
It was just like ticking. It was strange.
Priority set the real time.
Thankfully, that did not continue, but it just pans down on what is it's essentially a lattice, like a structure with metal lattice, and it's just a bunch of the little cubicle like mobile homes stacked on top of each other.
Shipping containers, a van.
Yeah, they're basically like high-rise apartments, but instead of like being a building, it's just a bunch of these trailers just hoisted up on metal girders.
It's
which
really
is
freaking retarded. It's like really, it's really freaking retarded.
Like I know in like dystopian like shit they normally have like awful conditions, but I don't think we would have actively like regressed what our building codes are like that. Well, because they're all structurally like broken, but he's just climbing down the little scale and everything, and it shows people in their like houses in varying degrees of upkeep, just like doing boxing and shit on
another
on
woman
their VR
is like
headsets.
being a stripper, because that was like a one-off joke, but like there was a woman on a stripper pole doing stripper dances,
and then there was this one woman who
we don't need to go through the whole thing, okay? No. They had everyone in the apartment was either on VR or saying hello to them because they were doing the one worldly thing they do outside of it.
Which really is confusing because VR costs, then again, this takes place in the future. Yeah. Never mind.
Even though the initial entry would have been like this much, by the time, since it's ubiquitous in society, it's either low enough that most people can afford even a shitty rig, or it's considered such a necessity in life like the internet that even if you're poor, you literally cannot afford to go without it. And considering the fact that money somehow transfers to the real world in this, it's not unreasonable to assume a lot of people buy it, trying to, create their own fortunes, which we see almost immediately because the main character lives with his aunt because his parents are dead and her boyfriend.
Shitty man-child boyfriend.
And her boyfriend is shown shooting early on in the intro, and it later cuts to him as he's Jim Raynor from StarCraft. Y'all may have not have caught it, but they're saying that it's him, and he gets murdered in the initial battle that his friends are in.
Yeah.
And he actually, the main character later taunts him for getting beat in a battle that his friends were involved in. And once he goes into the house, there's like a thing where, because he took his aunt's like gloves or whatever, so he lost, which may or may not have been for the gloves, but he's like, kid, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, I had to use your broke ass gloves. And he's like, well, why didn't you do this? You stole her gloves. And then he like gets into a fight with them and hits him. And he's like, Aunt, call the police. It's like, I'm not calling the police. Why do you put up with them? Why do I put up with either of you? It's like, I should have kicked out both of you. It's like, if you take my shit again, you're out. I'm not even joking. And then you feel bad for him, and he goes to his
the music. The music really
half of the music was like inspirational music you'd find in like a PowerPoint for like joining a fraternity, and the other half was like child music that you'd stick on for your kid to go to sleep, like whimsical
Yeah,
I have no fucking idea why both of them are fixated on the music, but it's apparently something I didn't catch that they're weirdly into based on the uncle beating scene.
Yes.
Well,
it was like
it's basically your generic 90s 80s music, like you hear.
Half of the music is just generic 90s 80s music, and the other half is like stock music that they'd keep in like it's like lullaby baby music, and the other half is like inspirational music that like they used for like fraternity or sorority recruitment,
or feel bad music just to make you trying to feel like those infomercials where they show like the starving African babies, like that, yeah.
You know, they're making me need a drink more than I already have to. But yeah, this is like after like the intro into the battle and everything, and it just cuts from this into like some weird broken American home thing that isn't developed enough to deserve its place in there. Almost like the Death Note Netflix movie that released, but that actually seemed to play a bigger part into his psychology and everything. Later on in the movie, though, they don't really give him much live action stuff, but he becomes hyper obsessed with the girl, and long story short, we'll probably back up to this. The trailer park home is blown up. It's just blown up.
And he
then goes and tells his online buddies that they might be after them too. Gets kidnapped, meets the girl he met in game and is obsessed over, and doesn't even
question why he was kidnapped.
It's not that they explain why he's kidnapped. He doesn't even give a fuck about the fact that his aunt and the abusive guy, which honestly you wouldn't either,
die.
He shows no empathy. He's a high functioning sociopath. There is no empathy.
Yeah,
but I mean, here's the weird part about that though. The thing that like kind of puts it in perspective. Later in the movie, when he's talking to the boss man, he says, "You killed my aunt and my aunt's boyfriend.
You killed my mom's sister.
You killed my mom's sister."
Yeah.
Which already shows that he was like so emotionally detached from them that they probably could have been like tortured in front of his eyes, and he probably would have cared less than if some random person he never met was tortured in front of his eyes. Yeah. So that's kind of telling. But
kill my mom's sister.
So the central thing in the movie, I won't say the central conflict because the conflict is, with the big company, but the central gimmick of the movie is you have to find 3 keys to be gifted the virtual reality world that this one guy has created. And the first key is hidden in a race that it immediately shows after the little monologue thing, and they all go down it. King Kong's there. It's very unremarkable. At the end, there's the finish line, there's the destroyed track, and then there's Kong. Percival sees the one girl that he becomes obsessed with speeding down the lane, and he's like, stop, bail, and then he like grabs her off of her bike, and then she's mad because it's like, why'd you stop me? No one gets past Kong. It's like, fuck you, the guy who made this game hated rules. Why would he have that as a rule?
Yeah.
And then he shows her to the mechanic shop, who is run by his best friend in the game, and who he was talking at the race.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't catch this in my first viewing, but when they started the race, he referred to the girl as, "That's Artemis, ain't it?" And he's like, "The Sixer Fixer?" So she already has like a, Sixers. It's introduced that there are a bunch of people who are just filled with numbers, so they call them the Sixes. Because they don't have names, just numbers. I don't know, why they settled on 6.
Yeah.
Six.
I think because they're part of a big company. They're part of the company or something. Like
I know why they refer to them as like numbers, but why they call them Sixers? Why don't they just call them numbers or something? But like...
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I guess to sound cool and edgy.
It's like, so it's established that she basically murders these people who are playing this game for it. And the race is the first key point. And here's the thing that watching it the second time caused me to kind of break kayfabe with. Because Percival and everyone who's interested in winning the game are called Gunters or Egg Hunters, because the thing that you get from all the keys is called an Easter egg. But he talks about like the contest, and he's like obsessed with the world this guy created and this guy. But when it talks about the race, it's like some Gunter cracked the first mystery, some forgotten Gunter cracked the first mystery for it a while ago, and when he did, this portal showed up to this race. And full stop right there. He said, some long-forgotten Gunter. I have been part of online games. I, was an old WoW head back in Burning Crusade and on. And if you're really into, like, the fucking game and, like, the experience that is a massively multiplayer online game, which it is, you're not going to forget the first guy who, like, found the first clue and found the racetrack. I'm gonna wait till you get back.
Yeah, man. Everybody peace.
It's part of life.
Alright. Enough talk about white-skinned black guys. We all just took a bathroom break because drinking does that to you. But he calls them, like, a long-forgotten Gunter. It's like, no, okay? I've been in these communities and shit. That guy's name would have been fucking immortalized. Like, you could have thrown any fucking name out there. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, you can show him later, you could not show him later. It doesn't fucking matter. If he has the fixation that y'all so put on this kid, he would know the name of them. Okay? Everyone who's so obsessed with this thing enough would probably know the name of this guy. But no. So the only people trying for this race anymore are the Gunters and the number people who were... we find out at the end of the race... Or, I think at the end of the second challenge, from Z-Bitch he gets really obsessed with is this where people, like, get in debt to because they loan out equipment to people?
And then they also buy debt up from, like, other companies.
And then they pull people in and just force them to play the game forever. It's like, yeah, you can live in this shitty apartment with us. And then they put up the cost of living and shit. And the main girl's dad died because they kept raising the cost of living and shit until he eventually just couldn't afford to live. He got sick, couldn't work, and just the debt piled up and he died.
It's pretty much prison. It's like...
It's a privatized prison.
It's a privatized
prison. Yeah,
prison.
Later one of the characters is in one of them, and they're in literal, like, cubicles from hell, and it's, at that point, an actual privatized prison. But... yeah, end of the race, like, this girl that it's revealed he had a fixation to, or it's told to you that he had a fixation with before because he calls her by name when he sees her. Is that Artemis? His friend, the Sixa-Fixa? And because he forced her to bail from her bike, she's like, man, that was I love that bike too. And he's like,
I love that crotch rocket that totally isn't the bike from Akira.
I was going to get to that.
You know what? You're right. You're right. It's the bike from Akira.
No, it's not the bike from Akira.
I was going to get to that when I talked about this guy's shop, cause the guy H, who's like this big dude with some little mechanical parts in his abdomen, who has an obviously voice change to sound like a black dude's like voice box, an artificial like.
Wait, it already sounds black, but you could tell that it's trying to cover up that.
When me and James first saw the movie, we're like, I really hope this is like some fucking pasty white boy that we see later
wants to be
who is trying to pretend to be black online because that would make him cool. And that would also be like a thing that is like how your online identity is different from who you like actually are. But no, we'll get to that later, I'm sure. But at one point in the race, he's like, "Do you see that?" And his friend like zooms in with this little visor. He's like, "Yeah, that's Kaneda." And he says it like, "Kaneda's bike from Akira." And no, Kaneda's bike from Akira is like a big bike. It's cool
fucking
and it's like
huge.
built. It's a big bike. She had like a Suzuki crotch rocket with like fucking Tron wheels.
Oh,
we mentioned it was Tron wheels. When I first saw the bike, I'm like, that's a fucking Tron bike.
It's like, oh, it's a reference to Tron. It's like, that's Kaneda's bike from Akira.
We both look at each other. It was like a slapstick cartoon. We both look at each other and just like go, what the fuck?
But yeah, he brings her to H's workshop. And in the workshop, there's like a big iron giant. She's like, "Cool, an iron giant. Where do you find that?" It's like, "I'm building it for a commission." Commission. And then like Percival, the main character, is like, he's one of the top modders in the thing. And it's like, modders normally put things in by software, but it's cool that they like make it in the game, and it's like, yeah, I know how modding and programming works, but, you know, whatever, I'm suspending kayfabe for this. And he's like, yeah, H has made a lot of stuff. And he goes to his toolbox, he's like, the Battlestar Galactica, of course. And he starts, like, naming all this different stuff. And, like, H just, like, walks over to him, and he's like, why are you showing off my shit? And he's just, like, obsessively fixated on, like, all of H's work, and he's just, like, autistically... like, showing it to Oliver.
She isn't your friend. She is some rando.
And she's like, okay, that's, you know, interesting.
It's a girl you just met,
And she's like, all right. It's like, favorite shooter. It's like, what are you talking about? Holiday's favorite shooter. And he's like, GoldenEye, favorite character. Odd Job, favorite mode. Slappers only. It means I know what slappers only means. And it's just like
and
as
favorite
they're
song,
talking,
it's like Video Killed the Radio Star.
As they're talking, like H puts on his visor again, looks at Percival, and it's like his heart rate's at like 180. His heart's about to fucking explode out of his fucking body. Blood's like about to start pooling out of his eyes. And he looks at her name's Artemis. He looks at her and like it's like 53, and it's just like
she wasn't.
He's just shaking his head.
Yeah.
So. Later, it just goes back to him in live action. He's like, and it's again on narrating. It's like, why did what she say stick out to me? Because like she says, like, you know, Holiday hated rules. Like, you know, you can get past Kong because he would have never put that in the game. And he's like, why is it sticking out in my head from me? Because she called me out? Because I like her? Because what she said was, like, right, and I've forgotten about Holiday's thing? So he goes to this place.
It's just an archive of
yes,
everything how
the
it with
Hall of Records.
With nanny cams and everything else.
Oh,
and 3D projections.
3D projections.
I forgot. In the opening narration, like, it's like, and then Holiday died, and... It shows like a Star Trek funeral with this guy with corners on his eyes.
Twice. I'm like, a Star Trek themed funeral is the lamest thing possible.
I was cringing when I saw that. I'm like, really? Like,
I thought it was okay. It's like if someone wants to do that, whatever. But it was kind of dumb. But like he rises up and it's like, if y'all are watching this, I am dead, and I swear to God,
it's One Piece.
I swear to God,
you want my treasure, you can have it.
Shut up! I swear to God, the way it was framed was exactly like the guy in Spy Kids 3D.
Oh my God!
Exactly like the guy in Spy Kids 3D who's like, if you find this in the game, if you beat the game, you get all this money. And it was framed in the exact same way as that public service announcement from that guy.
Oh my God! Wait!
Oh my
God! I actually was thinking about Spy Kids 3D.
This whole movie's just a worse Spy Kids 3D.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, this reminds me of Spy Kids.
But it was framed exactly like that. And to open up the challenges, he opened up the Hall of Records, which was as close as possible to his brain or whatever. And it's a bunch of footage, like basically composited out of like videos and like shit footage of this guy's life. Also, he archived every single video he ever watched,
and every
and
game
like
he's
the
ever
time
played,
he watched
and every
it,
book he's ever,
which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah,
but
And I guess that one girl he dated,
yeah.
I guess.
But
that's later.
Right.
But he walks up to the guy, and it's like an AI or whatever at the console, and he's like, here again.
Percival, here to waste more of my time, you are.
My search, his RAM.
Yeah.
But he's like, let me see this scene. It's like, you've only seen it 1,000 times. Do you really want to fucking watch it? He's like, yeah. And it goes to what looks like the aftermath of like a party, and the guys and Holiday's like picking up trash in the room and stuff, and his friend who also was like the big guy who worked on the game is like, man, we gotta put some rules in place. I don't like rules. It's like, no, like, why can't we just go back? It's like, man, we gotta go forward. We can't just like go back. Why can't we go back like really fast? Put the pedal to the metal. And I'm
As
like,
fast as
I'm like
possible.
mimicking his speech patterns here. They like stop and are like weird. And when he's talking, not only can he not look the guy in the eye, which is, like a common autism thing, but he's looking not even in his direction, in an opposite corner
At a
of the
wall.
room.
At a fucking wall.
He can't even look in the guy's general direction. He has to look at a wall, and like the way he talks and his mannerisms and everything, like it's very, very obvious that they're making him autistic, but they're not making him like, high functioning or whatever. Their cinematic understanding of autism goes back to the Rain Man. He's literally the Rain Man with all of his mannerisms and like speech patterns and little tics. I think the Rain Man had Down syndrome, but that's kind of neither here nor there.
Or radio.
When the AI guy is talking, he's like composite for all of his videos he's ever been in, all of this, his nanny cams, and here's the real thing. Because at some point in the movie, it says that he like was living the last parts of his life like alone and had no one to share it with. And like we saw this guy. This guy is...
Yeah.
He's far enough down on the autism spectrum, and their understanding of him is like Rain Man level. The way he's framed in it, he would have definitely had like a live-in nurse or like a nurse that came and like checked on him sometimes. Like he would have had some kind of living assistance, and it's kind of weird that it's put like that, but again, they had nanny cams, so that seems to imply that he had like them, which would have kind of been an interesting other faction if there was like a low-key thing that was coming in, because it's like his nurse who like vaguely knew enough about him to be in this thing trying to capitalize on his money.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He watches it again. He's like, "Oh my god, you gotta go backwards." So he starts the race. Artemis chick looks at him and is like, "You know something.
Tell me what
Tell
you
me."
know.
And
Come
he's just
on,
sitting there, it's like,
Percival.
"Well, fuck you." So then everyone goes forward. She looks back. He's like, and he goes backwards. And classic game design thing to, especially in like old school side scrollers, you train the player, you're supposed to go right, and then you hide a secret just to the left. Classic. But no one thought to go backwards ever. He was the first one.
The second I saw that, I'm like, the first thing I do when driving games is go backwards, because like that's the first thing my brain tells me to go do.
But like, yeah, it's fucking stupid. But even stupider is when he goes down, which is, it's like a brick wall straight there. A little panel opens up and he drives backwards underneath the course and sees everything going up.
Confused the shit out of me. Like,
but no. See, here's the funny part. It showed like a green, like lattice, like matrix type thing, and all of the traps and stuff were shooting out from under it instead of just being at ground level. It was like the Roman Colosseum, where like it just shoots it up. It lifts in a T-Rex, which the T-Rex thing actually kind of made sense, because in game design, people will often just like ascribe objects to be there, or like put different properties on stuff.
It's true.
So that made sense. But the fact that these spiked floors were like a pressure plate underneath the track that would come up to the track didn't make sense, and was dumb, and was movie about a video game like shit, and it was dumb, and I hated it. But like, yeah, so he drove to the back of it, popped out right at the end, and went through the finish line. He sees the guy's Avi. He gets the key. He gets the tip. Cuts into a thing.
Bunch of credits.
They have a scoreboard. He gets put up on the scoreboard that has no one else on it and becomes an overnight celebrity.
And he was kneeling before him like he's gonna suck his dick.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah. You're the greatest god ever.
Again, the biggest theme in this is creator worship.
Yeah.
Which is weird because they most of the things they worship besides the creators is just the thing themselves, the game. Like
Oh no, they have
when they
plenty
were-
of stuff about the creators.
that too, but no.
But it's only
the
about
games-
creators that the creator of this cared about.
Yes, like they did this big '80s song thing and the dance thing. We'll go back to. It's like they didn't care about the creators of the song. They didn't care about creators of this or that. Just like creators that the guy who made the game was autistically like fixated on.
Yeah, and like the main characters. So anyway, he gets a whole bunch of in-game credits for being the first guy to do this. With the in-game credits, he goes and buys a bunch of nonsense and also an X1 boost suit, which is made by the whole mega corporation who's trying to get the egg and run the game and basically runs a slave trade. Like de facto. They also have a de facto military organization.
Oh god.
Shit you not. But so he orders the thing, which is like an actual online thing. It appears at his house. And he plays the game with that. This is him IRL. And then it goes to a thing where the Artemis girl asks him out on a date when they look at the second clue, and he's at H's workshop, looking in the mirror, dressing up in different things, and H is like, come on man, you know people you meet in the Oasis ain't like in real life. For all you know, she could be a 300-pound black dude living in his mother's basement in suburban Detroit. And his name is
Chuck.
His name is Chuck. But he's like, nah, man, this girl's right. And he's like, I should be this. Everyone in the theater's laughing. I don't get it. And I think it was you. You're like, is that Prince? And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Then he goes into like the Michael Jackson zombie sort of thing. What do you think? Thriller? Does the zombie dance
I was
a bit?
like, really?
It's like, no.
No.
Do you think I'm trying too hard?
What about
man!
Yes.
What
Of course
about
I'm trying too
Duran
hard.
Duran? And I'm like trying to like die. I'm like trying to fall down the staircase next to us and just never wake up.
Yeah.
But
then he turns...
This is pretty much like
Then he-
80s,
yeah.
90s cheesy.
Then he turns into an outfit from his favorite movie. He's like, come on, man, an outfit from your favorite movie? It's like, yeah, it's like, I think she'll get it. It's like, no, don't be that guy. I am that guy. And he's just like, just be you, man. It's like, this is me. It's like, okay, fuck you, whatever. Go do what you want. So he goes, the girl goes like, you're in this
Look
thing
at
from
the
this
you
movie.
Oh my god, you look, oh my god,
I
this.
like Buckaroo Banzai. It's like, ugh.
It's like fuck you.
Oh, we talked about the weird like guy who has the amorphous blob face and the skull thing. He was revealed because the boss of the thing met with him. He's like, "Can you eliminate Percival?" And it's like, "Yeah, Percival's like a megastar though, so like people surround him. So you might, I'll probably it might be a bit harder than normal." It's like, I'll give you. What do you need?
Three times
my normal fee. It's like, done. It's like, fuck, I should have asked for 5. Is 4 still on the table? But he appears later at the nightclub, because that's where the clue leads them. The guy gets the furry girl that these two were talking about without me to basically take a picture and send it to him, which lets him listen into his conversation somehow. I don't know, it makes sense in a video game way, so I'm not gonna harp on that too hard. But he's then listening to their conversation the entire night. And the girl's like, alright, we gotta dance. We gotta jump down this hole in the nightclub because it's the first one Holiday built. It's like, people jump onto this hole all the time. It's like, shut up, we have the keys. They didn't. This will probably mean something for us, but not them. Maybe it's different, yeah? So, they dance. He pulls out a fucking not quite DDR pad. And they're dancing, and she's like touching him all over, and he can't handle it because he's never known the touch or like voice of a woman because he's probably been literally crammed into the virtual reality his entire life because there are apparently schools in it. Yeah, there's a point. Yes. There's a point where they say there are schools, and I would replace the schools, but that implies that people are getting schooling here.
Yeah.
So. Which is actually cool. So, he's probably never met a woman in his life, So they have this online bitch, but he's like dancing. It's like, and she's like, "Did you come prepared? Feeling all of them? Do you have the gloves or like?" What's your rig? And he's like, I have the X1 Booster with and he explains the entire thing and its features. And she's like, okay. And she's like all over him. It's like, wow, you did come prepared.
She was all over, like...
It flashes back to him in the real world and shows like red wherever he's being touched.
Oh, and when he got to the dick area, oh my god, he was
was
crazy.
She was like giving him a lap dance without giving him a lap dance. Like she was moving her hips up and down.
No, she came under him, and then she was twisting and twirling, and her red dress was showing stuff everywhere, like the angelfish from Shark's Tale.
Oh my god!
No! Why?
I can clearly see I'm the only one who saw parallels to that.
Oh my god!
I didn't want to think of that.
Why you had to put that? Why you had to put that image in my head? No.
No.
Lord.
You can't tell he's flipping us off.
Yeah, I have both my middle fingers rotating
Fuck
around.
Fuck you.
Blow me for making me remember that movie. I'll fucking think of something that you
That's
hate.
a good movie. Shark Tale is a good movie.
I refuse to believe Shark Tale is a good movie.
Do you think Shark Tale is a good movie?
It's an okay movie.
Well, there you go.
It's an okay movie.
We obviously have a split opinion on this,
It's okay.
but I think it looks like a thing from that.
I was thinking more Jessica Rabbit, but yeah.
You know?
No, but the strands that came off of her
That's true.
specifically.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
he's
then
like,
again, that fish could be based
I
off
love,
of Jessica Rabbit.
I love you,
She's
Artemis.
based off of Jessica Rabbit.
And she's like, okay, my real name's Wade. And she's like,
No,
whoa,
no,
what the
no,
fuck?
no, no, no,
and then
no,
and then it flashes
It's
to
like,
like
I
the
love
guy,
you
and it flashes to the guy in the who's tasked with like murdering him, and he's like, you fucked up, kid. You fucked up. Big
got your
surprise. So then suddenly the IOI, the Sixers, the numbers people crash through the virtual nightclub and start trying to attack them. And then the guy was like trying to kill them. It's like, what the fuck? Why would you burst them in here? You're now making my job harder. They shoot at him. Percival uses the equipment he bought with the money he got from getting the first coin.
Cube that sends time
it's a Rubik's
back
Cube.
2 minutes.
He throws it out. Everything goes back. She's like, "What the fuck is that?" It's like, "Oh, that turns time back 60 seconds."
Why
and you
didn't
waited to use it.
beforehand?
So they go, and he's like, "I love you," and it's like, "No, you don't. You don't know who the fuck I am. You don't know what I'm about. No, but you're pretty. You'd
I
be
like
disappointed."
killed my dad.
You just
and
met
spiel.
her. You just met her.
Like, okay. The biggest thing that pisses me off about this movie is it doesn't understand, like, online relationships and shit. Like, cause here's the thing. Like, all of this guy's online buddies are friends, and, like, the character they create for themselves in the world, while being a fictionalized version of themselves or what they want to be or whatever, is not, like, separate from them, and they're probably all cool guys who genuinely like their friend. But, like, they're putting it out as people who are deceiving them. And I think that one of the most telling parts is when H tells him, it's like, she's just using you. And then he's like, well, I'm getting stuff out of her, so how do you know I'm not using her? And it's like, well, to use people, you either have to, A, specifically be out to manipulate people, or B, you have to at least be good enough with reading and understanding other people enough to game them, even if unintentionally. And he has neither of these two things, so no. But, like, yeah, so she's like, you don't know me? It's like, my dad went into this thing and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I get that. It's like, no, you don't fucking get that. You don't get that. I feel like you've never fucking lived in, like, real life. Even though he's in, like, a poor, rundown, fucking awful socioeconomic situation. It's like, you've never fucking known that shit in your whole life. Fuck out of here. And she, like, basically leaves. And then he's like, no.
And they play the whole stock sad music, which really, really irritates, like, the crap out of me.
Yeah,
Like,
but,
just
after that, there's some dumb stuff in the little corporate lounge thing. The guy, the CEO or whatever brings in the kid. He like gets to the place. The visor's like, here you go. It's like you're trying to be contact. And he's like, oh fuck, no. He gets in. He gets beamed into the guy's office, who offers him a thing for like
a penthouse apartment and like
he offers him salary and
like,
shit and all this
like
stuff
$5 million
to work towards the thing. And he's like
I'm just like you, and he's trying to persuade him.
It's a very common scene in movies.
I want to drink tab, listen to whatever, and play Robo.
Yeah. He's basically like, come work for us. We'll do this thing. We'll make it great with the power you give us. And then he's like, whoa, that's a lot of money. But then he also tries to like negotiate or whatever. He's like, what'd you do with it? And the guy's like, this. I turn all of the schools on this planet into stuff from Ferris Bueller and Breakfast Club. And he's like, whoa, that's a great idea. And then he like gives him 2 things. And like the guy who's in his ear is like, it's a trap. Neither of these guys were involved in this. And it's like, oh. And he's like, nah, I know what you're trying to do. It's like, this guy didn't direct either of these things. And he's like, fuck off. So the guy's like, man, Wade, fuck you. And it's like, huh? It's like, yeah, I know who you are. Wade Owen Watts in Columbus, Ohio. Like,
blah, blah,
born
blah.
August 12th. And it's like, I know where you live, too. It's like, and let's just say, you're not going to be living much longer. And then
you
it
won't
shows
stand a ghost of a chance.
But then it shows a bunch of drones with fucking C4 going to his house and attaching a bunch of bombs to like the trailer park.
Yeah,
He's like, no one will care if a trailer park like building
but not
gets
only
destroyed.
does he kill his aunt and uncle, he kills everyone above and probably below his aunt and uncle to a point.
He just the kid's running this house. He's like, no. Oh yeah, but beforehand, before the house gets blown up, there's a guy who like looks at him on the street, and he's this bald dude with a tattoo, and he like runs toward the house, and then it explodes. He tries calling, but
the jack-off boyfriend like answered the phone first,
and he's like, cool suit, don't come back here no more, because he like stole the guy's suit, which the guy had like a clubhouse and a bunch of cars. It doesn't make sense that he doesn't have the suit in there. But anyway, the house blows up. He's like, no. He gets back to his hideout. He's like, all right, guys, like they just blew up my house, killed the one family I have, and then her boyfriend who I don't care about. Y'all need to. And before he can finish, the bald guy from before like chloroforms him. He wakes up. The guy has a knife. It's like, oh. He opens up the he cuts the rope that's around the guy's wrists. And then there's a girl that's like, that it shows us from behind. It's like, I'm sorry we had about the blindfold. We're paranoid over here.
It's like, wait a minute, you sound familiar. It's like,
Say
Artemis?
Artemis? It's like, yeah, but my name's Samantha. And then it goes on to this thing where he's like, he doesn't fucking care about his aunt and her boyfriend because he's autistic over this girl. No, he doesn't want to get laid. He's just obsessed over the idea of this girl. Much like he is obsessed with the idea of, like, the auteur game maker. But, so yeah, they go up into their open air garden, I guess it's supposed to be. And he's like, oh, the air is so fresh and it's
so slow.
It's so
lively.
And she's like, my man, have you forgotten what the outside, like, world of reality even is?
And wind blows, and it like shows her birthmark that totally isn't supposed to be a burn, even though it has like
she has like this birthmark over her left eye, and the guy's like, I'm not disappointed, by the way, because you said I would be, and
I'm like,
he walks up to her, and she's like touching her face and like pulling back her hair. So you've got a birthmark. That doesn't mean anything to me, and it's like she's still very traditionally pretty.
Yeah,
and
like, she's super
it's
hot.
just like a darkening of her skin. Like,
it's nothing
give her the fucking burn.
It's nothing you can hide without a concealer.
It's something that was obviously supposed to be a burn, but
I made
I
him
guess
they
they changed it to a birthmark.
but they didn't
I mean,
texture it or like give her like part of a missing eyebrow or whatever.
I made
I
a
guess-
Prince Zuko joke where it was
Yeah.
like, oh, her dad must have been the firework because it's obviously supposed to be a bird.
I guess originally it was maybe written like that, but then they looked at it and said, well, her dad was just kind of taken in for debt, so it doesn't really make sense for
they
some
could have
tragic
just said
thing to
some
happen to her.
IOI rig blew up in her face. Her dad worked for IOI, had a test
Oh, see,
rig, it
that's-
burnt her face. They could
that's-
have just said that.
I mean,
That's the
yeah,
weird-
that would make a lot more sense than
The
being a
weirdest
birthmark,
part
yeah.
is like later they meet all of their friends and they're all in like the Ohio area, which is fucking like they could have easily put someone in, but they easily also, because they had like apparently like a whole suit in like the car, they could have easily had it so that one of their parents or something could have worked for IOI, which would justify some of the gear they had and would also like be this thing that would have like actual emotional weight, because they realize their dad works for an organization which basically traffics people and commits war crimes. But when they beat the second challenge, it's discovered Percival is alive, so they're like, what the fuck? They find the bald guy, and it kind of broke kayfabe a little here when I first watched it, because the bald guy was then, it's like, we gotta do a search for this guy with the lame tattoo. And they found him at like what was essentially a farmer's market getting organic food. And it's like, this is like a resistance organization. Like, it would make sense if they were this disorganized anywhere else, but they're in the place with the headquarters of this organization. You would think that, if anything, this guy who's just taken one of their most, like, taken, like, the biggest threat that they actually went out to murder, would keep a low profile,
And send other
or
people
that
out.
Percival within
Or-
the game wouldn't get a key, so he wouldn't go up in the scoreboard again, but it was already written so that he had to win, because of course he did, despite the fact that he's now brought into this resistance where he understands, like, the stakes and that these people will kill people. So it's kind of weird, because that guy should have probably been keeping a low profile, because they know how vast their surveillance network is.
There was other people
if
in the
this-
base too.
yeah.
They could have easily sent someone else out to get food.
I mean, it is a very high expectation in a place where, like, neoliberal capitalism is rampant, and you know you can't opt out of that, so you have to be out. But I feel like you can work in the game to get that. I feel like a lot of things, like issues in this, can be solved by, you can make money in the game, therefore you can probably eke out a better existence. But again, we don't know in what capacity game transfers to reality. Because if it turns out to be anywhere from just under reasonable to a lot, then the Percival character probably could have helped them actually move out of their house. But it isn't explained at all, and it's just weird. But yeah, so they kidnap the girl, and
They're basically
she shuts this guy off in this thing that empties out into the streets, and she's like, "You'll forgive me for
we
this
didn't
later."
we didn't even talk about the stupid like second key shining thing that was right before they took her.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that.
Okay, so they went to the Shining, and to get the key, they had to dance with a woman that the creator was autistic enough to like not dance with her, even though that was she wanted, and he felt bad about her ever since.
Oh, in the
and
in the simulation. By the way, the simulations all like they have like a filming technique where like the camera's moving or whatever, but it pans, like everything stops while it pans, and things will be moving in the background and not in the foreground. It pans like Google Maps, and it looks like shit and it's ugly. But they were watching the scene, and he's like, "Oh, give me the juice about this girl you dated." Went on the date with, it's like, well, she wanted to go dancing, so
I took
we
her to
watched
a
a movie.
movie.
No, we watched a movie at the house.
Uh,
She wanted to go dancing, so we watched a movie. And the clue was something about a creator hating its own creation. So, like, they looked at the 11 movies he watched that week, and it's like, The Shining. The creator hates
Stephen
the
King
thing.
hates the Shining movie, and it's like, I see.
So they go to the Shining movie because it's archived in his brain, as is everything he watched, and it's just like a weird Shining recreation, but it's not the Shining, and it's different.
They added like zombies in it.
That
Which
was
is weird.
afterwards.
Black guy is like, it's like, is the Shining scary? And then the other guy's like, I had to watch it through my fingers. And he's like, oh no. And it's like, yeah, black guy has, reason to be adverse to horror movies.
Black guys die first.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the
that's
black guy has to
the
die
meme.
first.
And
Yeah.
then like a little tennis ball rolls up to him, and he's like, oh, and he like follows where it came from, despite being the black guy in the group.
Yes.
And it's just like,
See, it's the two Olsen twins.
but then he also doesn't watch horror movies, so it makes sense for him not to be horror movie literate.
Because in reality, if something is haunted, black people actually like get the fuck out of there, because they know not to not to deal with that kind of stuff. But
I think in one of the Paranormal Activity movies, there were like a bunch of Hispanics, and there was like he does something with ghost things, and the Hispanic grandmother comes out. And he's like, no, and she's like trying to bless him and stuff.
pretty much. But I don't know. Like I noticed that in a lot of horror movies. I know this is off topic. That when it comes to horror stuff, white people like actually go into the danger.
Apparently, white people carry no fear for spooky ghost shit, even though I'm horrified for spooky ghost shit.
Like, white people are fearless, but when it comes to the blacks or any minorities who are like, fuck that, we getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty much the black dude, like, went to the elevator, blood started coming in and trying to escape, and
went into the old woman in the Shining scene, which is like one of the most popular scenes in the movie, besides the Olsen twins scene, which they also spoofed. It was basically, you saw The Shining. Here, look, references to The Shining. You get it because you saw The Shining.
But it isn't references to The Shining. It's an actual like recreation of The Shining and stuff. And like at one point, I know you're like, "Have you seen The Shining?" I'm like, "No," and you're like, so this means nothing to you. But The Shining is also one of those weirdly referenced things in fiction, so that it actually made it like more interesting because it's another like weird iteration on this thing I've never seen. When they go into the bathroom, like all the walls are green, and it like actually looks like a movie set before they add any of the effects into it, and like that was weird as shit.
It does.
yeah.
But yeah, they get the key from there. And then that's when they find out Percival's alive again, and the whole shit starts.
No, because the girl, Artemis gets a jade key by dancing with the girl, and then it just, like, right after, 2 minutes later, the scene's like, Percival just got the jade key.
Yeah.
Okay.
He, like, honestly, if they knew they were after him, they probably should have just been like, yo, mate, don't get the fucking key.
Well, what they should have done, they should have checked the body first.
Because he now knows what the stakes are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they should just let Artemis do everything. Like if it wasn't for him getting the jade key, they wouldn't have understood that he was dead. They just they wouldn't have hunted them down as hard. They'd just been like, "Oh, who is this Artemis broad?"
And since she is, more versed for not, being a fucking person you can track. But after he escapes their hideout, there's just like this black girl in the street, and she just fucking pins him to a wall, and she's like, "Never trust a person you meet in the oasis." And he's like,
No,
Wait.
it was like something, and
Wait.
then it's like for the egg. Like they did their stupid
"Oh yeah,
thing.
first the key."
Yeah.
First to the key, first to the egg.
It's
and
like
then
H. It's like, you never trust someone you meet in the oasis.
Yeah.
And he's like, because someone could be a 300-pound black man living in his mother's basement whose
Chuck.
name is Chuck. And it's like, H. It's like, the name's Helen. It's like, my dad called me H.
It just
stuck. And then they like retreat to their
And at this point, they introduce
truck.
the best girl in the series because the white broad is not a good girl, but the black woman is like a superiorly better character and girl. And they even set up the dynamic that they were like,
they're
pretty much-
people who
yeah.
have a history and are like good friends and shit, and who should like fucking immediately click in reality, and like. But whatever. They go to the truck. There's also like this one guy. It's like, I am Toshiro. You know me as a Daito.
It's
And
like-
I swear to God, that's his fucking voice. And he's like, and this is Zo. Everyone calls him
Calls me
Sho.
Sho.
And he's like a little boy.
11-year-old
boy.
it's like, you are the
and-
baddest 11-year-old
Yeah.
ever. And he's like, oh, and then his brother goes, he's like, oh,
He
he
knows.
knows. He's like, no, let him tell me. And they both talk like this, where it's like an Asian accent said in the same pacing as an Indian accent.
We're really doing this fucking racist ass accent, but I swear that's like
That's
actually
That's
actually
how
how
they
the
fucking
it is.
talk.
How it goes. It's
It's like they needed to appeal to the Chinese market so hard that they just made someone who talks in broken
Okay,
English.
here's-
I don't say Chinese. I say the Japanese market.
Here's-
but
here's-
Japanese market means jack shit to movies. Chinese market's where it's at.
Here's one thing that really bothered me. Earlier on in the movie, like they snipe a couple of guys for Daito and Sho, you know, their characters in the game, and afterwards they look at H who sniped them, and Toshiro and his Daito just like bow, and then
Shishi.
and then the other one like fucking the other one just like also does that, but he's like sheshe, which I think is either like Chinese or Korean, so they're not related.
It's
One
probably
of them is Japanese and one of them is like
No, I
Chinese
think
or Korean,
I'm-
but it strongly implies that they're brothers. So
I think the younger. I think the 11-year-old is Korean in the.
The brother's
brother-
Japanese. The brother's like a fucking samurai. His
Yeah.
avatar is a samurai, and the brother is
Yeah.
just like a ninja.
They
And-
probably adopted. Who knows?
like,
so.
but like yeah, like the like so. It's strange. I also don't think Zoe is. I don't know. I'm not gonna.
Let's not
imagine
like
what names can
analyze
be.
like Asian
like-
shit in the movie.
But like yeah, so they do them. They drive down. Artemis is enslaved. She's working on this thing.
Their corporal punishment by getting shocked that you actually feel.
Yeah,
So it's pretty much jail.
But,
Pretty much
Privatized prisons.
it's she's putting like charges on a bridge or something. But he's talking to like H and all of them. It's like, all right, what can we fucking do to rescue her? We gotta rescue her first. And then like H who's driving, it's like, what the fuck do you think we gonna do? You think we gonna crash into their fucking place? It's like, no, we can't fucking do that. It's like, I have a better idea. How much do you remember about this guy's rig?
Everything.
Kinda everything.
everything. I'm
Which is a
like-
reference back to how he kept his password on his rig.
Yes.
So he's on the world. They put up the force field, which is an object he and a
Skull
rock,
dude.
yeah, a rock erected, and
But it wasn't a rock. It was a rock lobster.
Oh, boy, shut up.
what? But yeah, he erects the barrier with him, and they are now like they're now like in a little bubble that can't be penetrated. So the guy's like, all right, cool. He does like what is ostensibly a video game walk
character
with
walk.
his buddies. The main villains Avi is amazing because all of their walk cycles and shit
It's
are
a
the most
mixture
video game
It's
thing
a mixture
ever.
of like Senator Armstrong from Metal Gear Rising and a generic businessman.
I don't. His avatar is like actually just like Superman
It is.
in like the business
Yeah.
suit, but like his walk away from the thing and all of his walk cycles and like motions are like the most video gamey thing ever, and they're great.
They are amazing.
It's
But
stupendous.
anyway, the guy like then logs off. He like takes his visor off, and he ends up in his office with Toshiro and
Wade,
the main
pointing
guy.
a gun into his face that are like
And they both have
awkwardly
guns.
long.
And the guns are like
That looks-
fucking huge and dumb looking. Like,
It
they
kinda
have a
looks like-
suppressor, but that doesn't account for, like, the huge mass they have.
The gun would be top heavy as shit too. Like you'd be like holding
Yeah.
it and like you'd have to like point it downwards with an upward angle because it's like
And he's
20
like,
pounds.
where is Artemis? Who? Nate gives her name. It's like, I don't know. She's on the floor. It's like, give us her number and her, like, the code to talk to her. And he's like, all right.
It's like I say I could give you money. Like I could give you money. It's like
I
no.
do not want your money.
Oh yeah, but yeah, Percival abandons him, and then it's just like the
You talk like the
Toshiro.
Asian guy from South Park. Hello, welcome to Shiniwa.
No, he talks like the Japanese guy,
It does.
but he's like, no. Percival walks out, and it's just revealed to be in H's workshop.
That he just
Yeah,
like
that-
recreated a fake set of everything in like 10 minutes.
It's just an office and a rig. Honestly,
It is.
it probably isn't that much work.
Background and chairs and all that too.
But he's just like holding him in there. It's like, all right, so they get the thing, and then the guy just like happens to look down at his rig to see a reflection of the outside on it, and he's like, this isn't real.
It's like we.
And then the Asian guy's like, oh
Oh,
fuck,
so
he
he's-
found out, and he just like takes the thing off, and he's gone.
I was screaming at the screen, shoot, because you can still feel pain. That's a real gun. Just shoot him.
I know.
Shoot him. Zero
I
him
know.
out. Shoot his character. Shoot him.
Like shoot him in the head. Like come on, but well, not in the head, but.
Oh
still.
yeah, we keep saying zeroing them out, but in the exposition, see, we take this for granted so much we don't even figure to talk about it. But if you're killed, at the start he says gold, like you get gold by playing, and that levels your character up. So it seems like gold and experience are the same thing, but they can be traded. And when you die, you lose everything, and like I don't know how it works because they say start from scratch. So is it like, do they have it? Can you not make alts? But anyway, so they have the big dumb thing where it's like the showdown. It's just like, no, they found a third challenge and they wall it off with the shield. You gotta get in. So they're going. The girl's like, you gotta raise an army. He does like a live stream to like rally people.
Oh god, the speech.
the dumb speech.
Oh, y'all talk about that because I went to piss the second time, and y'all, probably.
speech.
Well, like
Have
you,
a
I
refreshing
kind of
brain.
like zoom out of the speech. 'Cause
I-
it was so. It
I
was
can,
so boring.
I can
and
name
cringy.
you what the speech is. Big businessman, asshole. We freedom key. Force
Okay.
field protected.
Now start remembering.
If you want to fight, fight with me and come here and help us defend this force field. And then nothing happens for like 3 seconds as they pan over. And then everyone spawns in.
And the guy's like, no, even though they have the impenetrable force fields, and the Iraq just like puts his hand on his shoulder, and he's like, no one is a failure who has friends. And then the guy's like, and I am now going to tell y'all why Iraq is the best character in the entirety of the show, or of the movie, period. And that's not only because he's cool. Actually, before I say why, I want to point out that he has one scene where he's like, that's what I like about you, Sorrento, who's like the boss guy. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't lick. You just bite straight down on what you want. Like the owl with the Tootsie
Tootsie
Pop.
Pop.
You remember that commercial? And it's like, that was actually really funny until you said you remember that commercial.
You had to explain the joke.
That, if you explain the joke, that makes it worse immediately. But, yeah, so he's like kind of cool and he puts that line. And here's why he's the best character in the entirety of the show. He doesn't work for IOI. He's just a mercenary who gets paid by the guy to do shit. And you never,
See him.
ever see him in reality, learn about him in reality, or is he talked about in reality. He's just a guy who works for them in the game. He's a guy who has his own identity that he has crafted, and like no one fucks with that. No one touches it. No one asks who or what he is. He's just there. He actually is allowed to have his own identity that he crafts. However bad or good that is, he actually has actualized himself in like this game, and that's cool. And every other character is shitty. Like
Yes.
he meets all of his friends, but one of his friends could have easily like live streamed in to the thing, and they would have had the same presence. It would have legitimized their relationship online. But everything that every anime that has dealt with the internet has and has made as a revelation is something that this movie looks on cynically.
Yes.
And that's like its biggest weakness. But they have the whole dumb thing. The girl sneaks into the rig into the boss's rig to find out how to destroy the magical artifact and bring down the shield. She then sneaks onto the floor where they have the guys who are authorized to do things.
Behind the couch, she
has the stealth segments to hide through the guy's office.
And it was like, I was talking to Anthony the entire time. It was
a video game stealth sequence.
Watch this as she runs behind the couch and like her head and feet are sticking out. And he's like, how did no one see that? And then she just runs behind her. And she opens up a swinging glass door that would obviously slam close behind her, and no one pays attention to it.
Yeah, I was like,
it was a video game stealth sequence, and it was cool because it was just a dumb video game stealth sequence.
Like something
And she later does it also in like the actual game where she does like a stealth sequence, moves in a one of the little orbs that films things and you can also talk to people with, and does the spell through the thing like it's fucking D&D. Like it's a D&D familiar. It's great. It crashes down. They have a big, dumb, awful fight. But before they do the fight, the guy pulls out a boombox and he plays the song, and it's like comes in. It's like, we're not gonna take it.
The
first time I watched that, there was like a guy 2 seats away from me who like exploded in his seat and was like
waving his arms back and
flailing
forth
around. And so the second time I watched it, I just like looked out to the audience, and there was like a kid in there who was maybe 14 or so, and he also starts spazzing out and jamming. I'm like, oh my god.
And then I was mimiking him doing the same
movements. Please stop.
He was moving his neck like this. He was like,
please don't make fun of the autistic children.
It's their film. Let them have it.
No, but the first time we're not gonna take it came on. The first time we saw it, I ducked my head into like downwards and just tried to stare into the floor until it ended, because I was so upset that happened.
Could they have chosen a more stereotypical thing?
I have no idea. They couldn't have.
No.
Oh, but
maybe we're gonna fight for our right to party. That would have like probably fit as just weirdly.
But that was kind of later,
Yeah.
So, but it shows the workers who are trying to complete the last challenge, and they're playing a bunch of games for the Atari 2600. It's like every game, there are so many possibilities. And then like they have like the group of people that aren't slaves that work for them, who are just like people who studied like the guy. And like they have one girl who's like, play adventure. It was released in this, and it has like all this
given,
and whatever.
The first game that have an Easter egg.
And then like the foreman or whatever looks at the next guy in line to try and do it, and he's like, play adventure. And then the guy just like has a big smile on his face as he puts down his visor, and that guy's probably the most interesting guy in the thing because he knows how to play and win adventure for the Atari 2600, which is a game like at this point 80 years into the past. So he plays adventure. It's like 1 minute has passed and the ice has not broken, and he keeps playing. But yeah, like the battle continues, and then Percival finally gets there. It's like, he's playing adventure. Oh no, the Iron Giant. The Iron Giant was in the fight. The Michael Bay Ninja Turtles were in the fight. They have to go over to the thing.
Mecha Godzilla versus a Gundam. That sounds the coolest on paper, but when it was played out, was like the most mediocre thing you've ever seen.
I thought it was okay. I was a little excited, but
Toshiro is in the van, and they're like all fighting, and they're like, Toshiro, when are you gonna come in? And he just is sitting with his eyes closed, and then he opens his eyes. and then he puts on his visor.
It's like, I'm gonna be a Gundam.
So
I choose
so
the
it's
form
like
of
the
the
whole
Gundam.
Japanese samurai guy just like sitting there in meditation before he finally decides
It's
to do
basically-
something, because this guy just like fucking, maybe he's actually like Chinese or Korean too, but he just like fillets Japan like a whole bunch. So he goes in, he comes in with his spaceship, and then he sits there with like the glove that's introduced at the start, which
Turn into any
At the
giant
start-
robot for 5 minutes.
for 2 minutes.
2 minutes, yeah.
But when it was introduced at the start, in like the fucking monologue at the start, he's like, Holiday made sure there were always enough like insanely powerful objects like around. So I think he said it was a balance thing, but it might have been more fun. It's like, that is the dumbest game design thing anyone could have ever come up with, and what? But he's like, Orega Gundam Aiku.
Like,
It's
he's
just like,
from a
and it's
fucking
like the
anime.
subs are just like, I choose the form of a Gundam. And he jumps off of the ship. And what I am almost 100% sure is just like a cutscene from Gundam Versus that shows like the Gundam like Mark II just like popping
Yeah,
up.
because it jumps out in like the most stereotypical like
It
video
jumps
gamey
out,
fashion.
there's like a weird
it does
flash,
a flip.
and it's like, I'm pretty sure even the background was taken out of like a Gundam Versus cutscene or opening or whatever. And he fights Mecha Godzilla, whatever. They're then in the castle, like trying to siege the thing. He's like, Artemis, are you still in a rig? What are you looking at? There's nothing over there. And it's like in real life, the guy's like ripping off all of the helmets of the people on the floor to
All
try
like
and
the
find her.
women.
And then fucking Percival's like, you'll forgive me for this later.
No,
Which is a
don't shoot
callback
me.
to when earlier she closed him off in the thing, because he says the exact same
'Cause it shows how-
exact same way. And then he shoots her, and a guy pulls her up right before Holiday sees her, and it's
Like,
like,
go to respawn, cadet.
yeah. So they then find the adventure guy playing. The ninja guy puts his crossbow up to
Like,
shoot him.
no.
He's like, wait, he's trying to win. And then the guy wins adventure. He's like, yeah, and then he falls on the ice, and someone's like, not adventure. And then Percival's like, see, he tried to win. You gotta do the thing.
It's
You
just
gotta
the way-
find the
Easter
dot.
egg.
Aimlessly wander around until
It's
you
easy
find
to
a dot.
do if you know how to do it. And then
He starts
then
crying,
It shows
like-
it shows in the background like Skull guy, a rock, has taken Asian dude, and the businessman's like, oh well, if it's that easy, then I'll just do it. And the guy's like, no, I'll beat you, fuck you, corporate guy, and
Corporate billionaires.
like something happens, and he's like, oh yeah, well fuck you.
And he pulls
he
out
takes
a
out-
thing
Bomb.
at the beginning of the movie. They show it like when they were
Yeah,
buying
after
the
he
thing.
wins and he was buying stuff, it's like
Yeah.
the Cataclysm. It kills everyone on a planet,
Even the
including
user.
you. And it's like, who would buy that? IOI buys everything. So it's just like he has the thing.
After
that
he
IOI
died
buys.
the first time, he like went into his like someone else's inventory or something, got a suit, and then just got the thing.
And he has it. And the guy who he hired, a rock, is like, what? No, what the fuck are you doing? Don't do that. That's a total camper move. It's like, you don't even know how to use a magic spell. I've got 10 years of shit in me. Don't do that. and he's like, whatever. Step 1, Step 2, and then like Percival kicks it out of his hands. And then like the guy's like, come on, mate. And then he just pulls off this actual fucking martial arts shit and
And
pounds
then kicks him in
and
the
then
dick.
pulls a
Percival
Hadouken.
into the ground.
And then kicks him in
Yeah.
the dick, and then he gets dick flung into next to the cataclysm, and he goes step 3, and then
And then-
pushes it
Yeah.
together.
Percival then like, it's like, you're in my world. Does like 3 fucking flips through the air and kicks him, and then does a Hadouken and kicks him in the dick. But yeah, he falls in it and he does a thing, kills all of them. Whole planet's dead. Percival respawns and it's like, what? Huh? What? And then he like looks in his pocket, and like the one item he has is a coin
That he got
that
From-
says
from the
free extra life. And he got it because the curator of this dude's brain
lost a bet.
like made a bet with them earlier. And yeah, so he plays the thing and he's like narrating it because there's a live stream of him doing it, and he's like, "See, adventure, like the guy who created it didn't put his name on it, but he also wanted people to know who made it, so he put his name in it in an Easter egg, and to get it, you didn't even have to win the game." And it's like, yeah, like no Easter egg like has you needing to win the game to
If
get
an
it.
If an Easter egg is out in the open, it's not an Easter egg. It's just part of the game.
But like, Easter egg is part of the game. Come on.
But it's not like something. No, it's like part of the main story. It's like you're supposed to get this every time. They just like put it out in the open.
But like, so he's like, you didn't have to beat the game. So he finds the invisible dot, brings it back, and then he gets sucked into a thing. There's like a high speed chase where they find the van, and the guy's trying to like come beat him and kill him, and like goes to a thing. It's like, all right, now sign this paper, and the oasis will be yours. And he's about to sign it. It's like, this isn't right.
This is when you signed that guy
This
who
is
you're
when you
friends
signed
with.
the rights over to it.
And then
No, it's when he made his friend sign the rights back to him.
Or whatever. But it's like, I this was your last test or whatever. Oh.
so I just had to make sure, like,
Yeah.
and then
So he brings him to this thing and he's talking to him. It's like, all right, so this button here,
Deletes all of Oasis.
Yeah, it will destroy the world. It will destroy all of Oasis. It will like destroy the backup servers. It'll unleash a tapeworm program that'll eat all of Oasis and stop it from existing. The car hits their van. He falls against it and almost presses. It's like, try not to delete all of Oasis on your first day. Please. He digs around, eventually finds the egg, and by the time he finds the egg and it's like talk to him,
you're not a computer program.
They find themselves back at like the little high-rise apartments or whatever, and like the guy comes through and like some old bitch is like, "We know what you did. Get out of here while you still can." And then she says that, and before he even takes another step. But before he even takes another step, like literally, like fucking 200 people are surrounding him.
starts surrounding the area, and then he pulls out the gun, and
everyone's
then I pull
out my 9.
And I'm like, you could take this guy down. It's just
before even getting shot, you can grab his arm and
crowd mentality or whatever. He eventually gets to the booth. He opens up the van, like the back of the van. And he sees Percival
with the egg in his hand, with the sparkles come out of the suit.
His gloves are all shiny, and the guy's like, and he's like staring at him.
It's like,
and like the cops come and they're like, drop the gun, and he does, and he gets back, and like, you know, the cops don't care when they have a de facto military, but I guess when there's a high speed chase that's televised, and they'll go. And then the cops are like, "You Percival, we need to speak to you." And then H is like, "Oh no, I sent in the video.
I record everything I do in my shop." But
then the guy, like, the guy who was like the other guy's co-designer or whatever comes in and he's like, "Hey, we need to sign over the rights to this game and all this money to you." And the guy's like, "Give me a second," and he closes the door. I'm not going to make the same mistake Holiday did. And then he kisses
the girl,
kisses the white bitch. Samantha.
Should have been the black woman. It should have been the black woman.
But yeah, it has the whole thing, and the guy who's his friend is like, "I've been watching you for a long time, Percival." The guy's like, "No, you're the museum curator," and it's like, cheerio,
and hip hip and all that.
I was like,
and it's like,
trumpet.
It was
and
like,
that like infuriated me because it's suddenly like, does the Oasis have no NPCs whatsoever?
I pointed this out to you, but after you see it the first time, and it's like, he's wearing a vest. In the flashbacks, his character also never wears a suit that isn't a vest. He's always seen wearing a vest.
Holy shit!
But
you're right. Oh my god.
Yes,
but yeah, it's like, he's.
Yeah, that irritated me too. I'm like, really? Like, okay.
This game has no NPCs. Even the place that is a museum to all of this guy's memories has to be run by a player. But
that doesn't make any sense. That means
it doesn't. Yeah,
it doesn't.
That really doesn't make any sense.
It like the modding thing was especially weird because it feels like there aren't any like player-made worlds, even though that'd be the first thing to be made. There should be like. easy modding tools into this, but it kind of doesn't seem like there is, despite one guy being like a modder.
What if your avatar
modder's
was just a character as big as a planet? Yeah. What if you were like Ego, the living planet?
But a modder, a modder puts new things into the game. They don't like build things out of weird like in-game objects. But anyway, the movie ends. It's like, yeah, we did a lot of things with that money. Like the Fivers gained control of it. We banned any loyalty center, which is where people, which is a private prison.
Slavery.
And they're like, we banned all of them from accessing it. And they shut down all of theirs. And then he's like, the third thing we did, it wasn't as popular. We closed down the Oasis every Tuesday and Thursday. Because you need to spend time with people in real life. More like, because as Holiday said, reality is the only thing that's real, which goes against everything like the movie sets up. Because this guy is like talking about his friends who he like hangs out with IRL, who he only was able to meet through the game and would not be friends with despite them. He's basically saying, it basically says that people you meet online are indeed your real friends, but if you can't be with them outside of the internet, then they aren't.
Yes.
Which is
kind of
fundamentally breaks it. Like,
it doesn't make any sense because
I saw one review that was talking about how like Spielberg's thing, it's like has like cuts to like the emotional thing where it doesn't matter. It's like, why do these people all live in Ohio together? Like, where that kind of like breaks it, because like that's stupid. If you get hooked up on that, that's dumb. But it's like, it's still like ostensibly the only reason he ever met these people and can hang out with these really fucking rad dudes is because they were people he made relationships with online. Thus meaning that online is reality, and like he's cutting people off.
Anyone
from
who
what
used
is
to see Oasis for money or as a job is now out of a job Tuesday and Thursday. That means they have to work twice as hard the other days of the week because they've lost 2 whole days to make money and get rent and stuff.
The creator of the game, Holiday, he basically copied his. He made a brain
copy. It's not really him. He's dead. It's just a copy of your brain.
And he says that.
His avatar actually interacts with them.
Yeah,
like, people find the keys.
And it's really contradictory saying, "Oh, reality is amazing," and yet he's in the game. I don't know.
Reality is amazing.
In the game to
says
run his
brain
contest,
copy,
and then leaves it after the contest is won.
Just deletes himself.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all say that can't be an AI, but an AI like is like a program that can rewrite itself on the fly, so it isn't, outside of the realm of reality that it is an AI. But anyway, so at the end, like when he's doing this monologue, it like the camera shifts over and shows him sitting on a couch making out with white bitch, and it shows her on the side where she has her scar or her birthmark or whatever.
Yeah.
But the shadows in the room makes it so that you can't see it. So even when he like accepts her and is like whatever, even though you're still traditionally beautiful, you have this thing about this. It chooses deliberately to conceal that in shadow. But here's the thing. He never should have gotten with the white bitch, okay? He should have gotten with H. They have a pre-established relationship. This guy loves, like, her work. He loves, like, every fucking thing they do.
He's close to her and all that. They do shit together. They even almost finish each other's
He puts, like, her shit...
Exactly.
Like, he should have gotten with her.
He should have.
And also, everything bad about this movie could have been, like, fixed by making it more queer. Like, he could have found, like, this beautiful girl in the game, and then when he met her in real life, it could have just been, like, a guy, but he's already had, like, this weird investment in them. And anyway, but yeah. So, one thing I forgot is that when they were looking at the thing and talking about the guy who's, like, the CEO of this company, he basically got all of his power because he was an intern under Holiday, and Percival's like, the only thing he really knew about him was how he liked his coffee. But,
Coffee.
So, he was like the intern for this guy. As he's the intern, in like the memory clip it shows, he's talking to him, it's like, you could make like different tiers of like membership. Like people could have gold
Well, it's
membership
bronze,
or silver
silver,
or bronze or
and
or like
water, 'cause
water
Oasis.
because Oasis and he's like hell of a coffee. So like here's the fucking thing. He's an intern. I don't know if he's fucking paid or unpaid, but this is probably where he got the idea for like fucking privatized prisons because he was a fucking intern. And it's like obviously this is a moral thing in society, but like here's the fucking thing. He's talking to him about monetization and shit. He's a fucking intern. He's not seeing anything out of that. It makes no sense for him to want to like tell this guy who he's ostensibly like has no benefit from the game making more money or not. Like he gets no benefit from them charging more money. It makes no sense that he's pitching this. That broke my fucking kayfabe. It made no fucking sense. But like the other thing is like he's an intern to Holiday. But in the fucking flashback, he's older than fucking Holiday.
He is. He's
The dude's
way
like fucking
older.
42 in the thing. And then it gets to like where he is in reality. And he's like 2 years
That's
older
true.
than he is in the fucking
You're
like
right.
hologram.
Yeah.
Like
That's
Holiday was younger than him when he was the fucking intern. But then he's like older than him. It really you really
It
don't even
didn't
know how
make
old he
sense.
was when he
Yes,
died
yeah.
because he just seems to look
it looks
the
like he
same
was in
way the
his
entire
60s.
time.
Yeah, it looked
Yeah.
like he was in his 60s.
Yeah.
He also had the weird Albert Einstein hair. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
they were trying to do that on purpose, where he just had crazy hair.
I don't know if he was in his 60s, but
I mean, it looks like it.
He had
like,
gray hair and glasses.
he
old
never
as
really
shit.
changed.
Yeah, he never did really change.
He was the same in every one, but like in the flashbacks, they tried to make him look younger, which made the intern guy look like he was older than him, and he just looks the same in him. But like, yeah, why would you be pitching ways to monetize something if you're an intern? You wouldn't.
You
like-
wouldn't care. Unless you're looking for a promotion, which he wasn't. He was just wanted to get the company better, make it everything more pay to play.
I don't get it. It makes no fucking sense.
This
Nothing
is a weird
about it makes
plot point
sense.
we're harping on.
All right, so
oh wait! Before we go, what really bothered me is there was like one of the people that was working. Can't talk. Oh my god, this movie. For some reason they pay close attention to this one girl with the orange hair. It's not Sam, but she was working with the company.
Yeah.
And I thought she was gonna be like one of the main characters. Yeah.
they have the literal corporate slaves, and then they
Wage
have the
slaves.
people who are like researchers who just like obsess over Holiday, and she has like this weird autistic fixation on adventure or something.
Yeah.
Like the guy on the floor.
Yeah, they pay
and
too
when-
much
when-
attention
and-
to her.
And when they were putting the keys in, she like kisses this like fat guy.
Yeah, like they have.
Everyone celebrates the victory of the game because these researchers are like, yeah,
Even though
someone
all
did
these
the thing.
researchers are now out of a job.
But they can play the game. They can play the game.
Yeah,
as their
but
job.
they paid too much attention to them, and they never got
I mean,
developed. And
like,
it's like
that-
weird. It was kind of weird. Like
it's whatever. She's just someone who's also obsessed about this thing. All right, so I guess closing comments. Like, is there anything you feel like you've left out, and like, would you recommend this to anybody? And like, what's your score? What would you score this movie?
I'll give it like a 7.0 out of 10, in my opinion. I mean, if you like sci-fi movies, then go for it. But if you want an intellectual movie, then watch something else. This movie here can make your brain dead. But anyway.
I give it a 3. If you shop at Hot Topic and are 14, you'll love this movie. If you don't shop at Hot Topic and are not 14, this movie will be boring. We expected less and somehow got even less than we expected. We expected nothing and got less than nothing.
I mean, I enjoyed it despite it being dumb. I mean, I still had problems with it, but you know,
The one
but
review I read where it was like, this is a movie equivalent of one of those pop culture mashup teas. hit to the home so close to what this movie was. It was scary.
Yeah. But, just turn your brain off and you'll enjoy it. But if you think too much, you're probably gonna wreck your mind. So, yeah.
I think I'd also give it a 3. Ready Player One, which is weird because Ready Player One isn't like a bad movie. It's not awful or like shit or anything. It's just it commits the cardinal sin of the kind of movie it is, where everything's just so fucking boring. Like, so much of it is just so boring that it's hard to, like, again, like the whole Sakuga thing where it's like some of this is technically impressive and has a lot of motion, but I don't feel like it's grounded anywhere, and it's just everywhere, and it's just something that seems like, I guess, technically well done, but it just feels boring and meandering and gross. It's ostensibly a movie not about like media worship, but creator worship. And it's really weird, but like another big theme they have is connecting with people through the internet. But also, if you ever can, abandon that for like the reality and never address the internet thing. 'Cause when Toshiro first meets White Girl, he says, "I am Toshiro. You know me as Daito." But he could have just introduced himself as
I am
Daito.
Daito.
And
like the gamer
she
tag
would
I
have
used.
accepted that, and that isn't separate from his identity. He is Daito.
This is like Pei's situation where everyone just calls Pei by his gamer tag.
What? No. But like, yeah. So it's a very thematically confused movie that spits on a lot of ways that this, like, the themes would have been like lovingly explored, where this just kind of cynically thinks about it, where reality is the only thing that's real. Like, that's dumb. Fuck that. Get out of here.
Yeah,
But also
the meaning was kind of skewed because I was confused. Like,
the Tuesday Thursday thing at the end was by far the worst.
That kind of
But-
infuriated me to a point.
One of the scenes I really fixated in was when White Girl like goes to the van they're in, and she looks up, and the one driving it is this butch black girl, and she's like, "Not what you expecting, is it?" And she's like, "Oh no, not this Model 30 whatever van with all of this."
Mail truck.
And she's like, "Good save, White Girl. Talking about my car and not being spooked because there's a black woman at the wheel, you piece of shit." And it's just like, I really hyper fixated on that shit because it's like, why are you looking at them for like this 5 whole seconds? Like, fuck you.
I mean, it's like it's 2040 something, so I understand why she cares about that anyway. But anyway,
yeah, they had a lack of like brown people with no characteristics that actually stood out.
Yeah, in fact, she was the only brown character that with characteristics. Like, the rest was
They had the one guy who looked like his face was just morphed onto his character.
Yeah.
But he kind of looked like he had a lot of like distinctly Mexican facial features. But yeah, I guess that's all I kind of have to say about it. Have y'all said all y'all feel y'all need to say?
Wait a minute. There's one more thing, but I'm trying to remember. There was so much crap going on that. Oh my god. Shit. Let me try and remember.
Do you remember like any scene or whatever that might help us?
Let me see. Oh my god. Oh, like when everyone started helping. When everyone was starting helping the main character at the end.
And the big fight scene.
The big fight scene, yes, and everyone everyone in reality doing ninja flips and Naruto ninja kicks and Naruto runs.
Oh, in reality,
that
they were
got
all
me.
doing their final battle thing.
Yeah.
But when one of the women who was chasing down the van just like looks on the street, there are like a bunch of kids and like some adults and stuff just on like the sidewalks of like urban Cleveland, Ohio?
Yeah.
On like Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus.
They were just like on the streets of it, just like punching the air and like doing kicks and stuff.
It
and
was so hilarious. That fucking got me. That fucking got me. I was like, this was the best movie
I had
ever.
fun when in the narration he's like, but you don't need to get out to see the world. You can see the world from your omnidirectional like movement treadmill.
This is true.
And that was funny.
Oh my
But
god. I'm
funny
surprised.
in a way that was depressing. But yeah. One thing, they had like the Tracer model in it. And she did the blinking and stuff. And
it made the loudest
Blizzard must have paid a lot of money to have that shown off. Because the sound design of her like doing the little blinking thing was loud as shit. It cut
mixed.
over everything in the movie.
It was
like,
mixed.
whoop!
It was mixed into the audio to be the first thing, that like loudest thing in there.
Yes.
And
I was
Tracer
like,
was in there not once, not twice, but three times.
Yeah.
And Zenyatta was in the background too, but not as much as Blizzard's main character for Overwatch.
And
Tracer.
in one scene when they were in the nightclub, she looks up and then what also looks like Oriel from Diablo.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Tracer's
Boom.
sound effects were loud as shit. I think that's it, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, I feel like I don't know. My score. I say, I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it.
You don't have to defend your score to us.
Like
Like seven is the score I give to like a summer action movie. It's
Me
like
too.
Yeah.
watching it was
that's why-
cool, but I'll never think of it ever again.
Yeah, that's how I feel. It feel. I'd rather this movie than Transformers anytime. So, I guarantee that. So.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think I could
Oh,
have
the final battle,
twice.
like when they panned over it, it actually looked like a Lego playset
It
that
did.
people were fighting.
Oh
with.
my god! Yes.
I don't like.
Oh,
Yeah, looked like a Lego playset that people were playing with their Lego figures on.
Yes. But like I said, just turn your brain off and just enjoy yourself.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for listening, y'all.
Yep. See y'all.
See ya.